On behalf of the School of Nursing, faculty, and staff, as well as the Illinois Wesleyan University administration, including President Georgia Nugent and Provost Mark Brodel, I welcome you to the 2020 School of Nursing Convocation, signaling the start of an exciting 2020-2021 academic year. I extend a special welcome to our 46 seniors who are nearing the end of their Illinois Wesleyan education and who are preparing for rewarding lives as professional nurses and as global citizens. In addition, we offer warm greetings to our 57 first-year students, which includes one internal transfer, Caitlin, as well as 47 sophomores, including one external transfer, Anissa. Equally important are our returning 55 juniors who have challenging and exciting years ahead. This brings our School of Nursing total to 205 students. We will now hear greetings from President Nugent, followed by a welcome from Provost Brodel.
Hello, I am delighted to join the Nursing Convocation today at the beginning of our 2020-2021 academic year. Over this past year, my first year at Illinois Wesleyan, it has been such a pleasure coming to know the nursing school. I am so filled with admiration for you, our nursing students, and the choice that you are making to take a nursing degree. You have idealism, you have courage, you have the desire to help others that makes such a difference in our society. I know from personal experience what a difference wonderful nurses can make in helping those who need help most at important times in their lives. So I commend you for being nursing students here at Illinois Wesleyan, but I also want to say a few words commending the School of Nursing, and its participation and importance to the entire Illinois Wesleyan community. In particular today, I want, of course, to give a shout out to the director of the School of Nursing, Professor Vicki Foles. As I'm sure most of you know, Vicki has been heading up our response team, certainly our medical response team, to the COVID pandemic. This has taken long hours and an enormous amount of work, coordinating all the many different aspects that we at the university need to be aware of and to deal with if we are going to be effective in this COVID era. Director Foles has organized our testing, how we are going to have the appropriate processes for dealing with students or others who develop the virus. There are just 1,000 moving pieces, and she has been amazing on working on this for the benefit of the entire university over the course of this summer and fall. I also want to call out Dr. Ann Eckert in the School of Nursing. I don't know how many of you will be aware of it, but Anne has been very involved at very high levels in the governance of the entire university. This year, she is serving as the chair of the faculty committee called CUP, which is the most significant faculty governance committee. And again, just as with Vicki Foles, these are roles in the well-being and the health, if you will, of our university that these individuals are taking on above and beyond the teaching, the research, the effort and time that they devote to their role as faculty members in the school. And I'll also give a shout out to the many nursing students. The example I think of, because I seem to encounter her all the time, is Wachuk. But so many of you in the school also participate more broadly throughout the university in student organizations, perhaps in admissions, in the multi-faith organizations, in many, many ways. So you are such an important part of who we are here at Illinois Wesleyan. And the final thing I want to say is last year, the nursing school had its accreditation visit, which occurs periodically from the national organization of accrediting of schools of nursing. I had the opportunity to read the report prepared for that accreditation and to participate uh, in the process where a visiting team comes to evaluate our school. And I must say, I was incredibly impressed by the clarity, the commitment, the self understanding, and the clear goals that are set in the School of Nursing. It is so clearly understood throughout the school how you, as nursing students and nursing graduates, are going to become outstanding professionals. That is obviously instilled in a very clear and coherent way from the beginning of your program up until your graduation. And I will say that in our virtual graduation ceremony, held only a few weeks ago, the School of Nursing truly stood out for the level of participation of graduates and the ways in which they were going on to future professional lives and success. So, with that, again, I just welcome you to this academic year, an unusual one, but we hope it will be a great one. And it is a pleasure to have you here and to be a part of this ceremony. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mark Brodel. I'm the provost here, and I just wanted to add my welcome to you, welcome back to many of you this year at Illinois Wesleyan. There is no doubt that this will prove to be a very interesting and exciting year. In this particular case, you are going to be in the thick of things, and what a learning environment in this time of COVID for you to be bringing your skills to bear and to help maybe colleagues understand as well what is going on. It is an exciting time, not only for the COVID, by the way, but also you'll know that our reading this year, What the Eyes Don't See, and also our annual theme both touch on health issues as well. And I think that helps to ground for you, I think, a very special year in so many ways. This year is going to be one that, without a doubt, you will remember, maybe for events like this that are so strange in this kind of a format, and also for the kinds of stresses and strains that it'll be putting on your connections with your classmates, and certainly with the patients and people that you'll be seeing out in the hospitals or on your clinical rotations and things. I urge you to keep at it. You do amazing work. We see again and again and again, year after year, that the School of Nursing is up at the top of the institution all the time with regard to performance and the ability of you all to hang together as a group and do us proud. So I'm looking forward to that again in this coming year, even in these challenging times. My office is right next door to President Nugent's, and if you ever are in the neighborhood, please do stop by, introduce yourselves. I would love to have a conversation and get to know you. So take care, good luck, and stay very healthy. Thank you.
We share a rich history that dates back to 1902 with the Brokaw School of Nursing. The formal relationship between Illinois Wesleyan began in 1923 with an articulation agreement with Brokaw Hospital School of Nursing, in which students attended Illinois Wesleyan for 2 years of sciences and attended Brokaw for 3 years of nursing. And those students earned a BS from Illinois Wesleyan in 5 years. We're celebrating our 61st year of the 4-year BSN degree. The 4-year BSN degree, granted by Illinois Wesleyan, was approved by the Board of Trustees in 1958, and the School of Nursing admitted the first class in 1959. That first class walked across the graduation stage in 1963. At that time, the School of Nursing was known as Brokaw Collegiate School of Nursing. Our name changed to Illinois Wesleyan University School of Nursing in 1980, with our professional school situated firmly within a liberal arts tradition that continues today. In addition to assuring that we've always been firmly rooted in the liberal arts, we began offering minor courses of study to equip students for the complexities of a changing healthcare environment. In 1990, we launched a Human Services Management minor with business and economics, as well as a minor in health. Then in 1998, we introduced a Nursing and Spanish, now Hispanic Studies, minor. All of these 3 minors remain vibrant today. You'll see a brief history of our beloved School of Nursing on the back of your Convocation program. We've much to celebrate as we begin the 2020-2021 academic year. We exceeded enrollment projections and strengthened our diversity initiatives in the School of Nursing. Of our 205 students, 29 are men. And if we were together in the chapel as we are each year, those men would stand and cheer. As an unrepresented group in nursing, the men in our program represent almost 15% of our total enrollment. 59 of our students are students of color, representing about 30% of our enrollment. We also strive for geographic diversity and have 23 out-of-state nursing students from a total of 12 states. And other than Illinois, California leads with 8 students. Returning tenure-line faculty for the fall include Dr. Lydia Birchie, Dr. Ann Eckhart, Dr. Amy Funk, Dr. Monica Hall, Dr. Amanda Hopkins, Dr. Noel Kerr, Dr. Wendy Kukin, and Dr. Brenda Lesson-Knoll. Professor Brenda Drury continues as a full-time visitor. Dr. Carolyn Jarvis has retired from teaching, but you'll find her most days in her Stevenson Hall office working on the next edition of the Jarvis Health Assessment textbook. Returning adjuncts for fall include Professors Karen DeLong, Kelly Schuler, Becky Culp, Mark Holly, Dr. Ann Pedvoisky, Dr. Marilyn Prasoon, Shauna Bivens, Jen McBride, Dr. Teresa Schwindenhammer, Jody Huffman-Frazee, Chris Meeker, and Dr. Tamsin Weaver. Please join me in welcoming Jessica Garrett, who will be in Nursing 400, Liz Bosch in Nursing 320, Katie Pola, also in Nursing 320, and Abby Hardesty in Nursing 430. Dr. Lorene Brown continues to teach in our health rubric. Returning full-time professional staff are Arlita Dedianu, Stephanie Moore, Mitzi Tiemann. Dr. Peggy Jacobs also returns as our full-time instructional support and outcomes coordinator. Amanda Kemp joins us as simulation coordinator and professional staff associate. We're delighted that Meg Miner continues as our library liaison, and we welcome back Lonnie Gruen as our custodian in Stevenson Hall. Lonnie's efforts are complemented this year by Ryan and by Al, who are helping to assure our COVID cleaning protocols are met. Our faculty and staff work collaboratively to assure our mission, which states, the School of Nursing extends the liberal arts tradition to prepare exceptional thinkers, compassionate professionals, and leaders for nursing and global health care. Our keynote speaker today exemplifies our mission, and her presentation showcases the emphasis we place on diversity and inclusion, as well as global citizens as a campus community. Marissa Smith is a former recipient of the Hartwig Leadership Award and a 2019 graduate of the School of Nursing. She's currently a behavioral health nurse at Advocate Christ. Among her undergraduate leadership activities, she served as the senior captain of the IWU dance team, a student laboratory assistant in the Nursing Interventions Lab, treasurer for the Student Nurses Association, member of Black Student Union, and a pathophysiology pharmacology tutor. She was inducted into Sigma Theta Tau and conducted research starting her sophomore year about African American nurses in the workforce. She presented those findings at the Human Rights Workshop, an earlier School of Nursing Convocation, She Speaks event, and the Midwest Nursing Research Society Conference. Marissa's video showcases her lived experience as a new graduate nurse impacted by COVID and her insights as a young woman of color navigating systemic racism.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marissa Smith, and I am a 2019 graduate of the Illinois Wesleyan School of Nursing. Throughout my 4 years at Wesleyan, I always remember looking forward to the convocation ceremony. It was one of the only times that we as nursing students were all together, sharing the same space with the faculty and our peers as we welcomed in the new school year. It brought a sense of unity. And although convocation in the school year will look incredibly different this year, I believe it is important to continue to embrace that sense of unity and carry it through the remainder of the school year. Now, I have been asked to speak to all of you today about two major events that have swept our nation and the world over the past several months. The COVID-19 pandemic and the, I guess you could say, resurgence of the Black Lives Matter movement in the wake of the deaths of several unarmed Black citizens. I will begin by giving some insight on how these two events have impacted my life. I began working as a behavioral health nurse in August of 2019 at Advocate Christ Medical Center. Our unit consists of 2 inpatient psych units and a medical unit for patients detoxing from alcohol and drugs. So depending on what unit I'm on, my nights usually revolve around de-escalation tactics, therapeutic communication, PRN medications, and Ativan for the detoxing patients screaming and hallucinating. 6 months into my nursing career, as I start becoming confident in my skills and abilities in caring for this specific patient population, coronavirus makes its way to the United States. Now, of course, the president said, quote, "It's going to disappear. One day, it's like a miracle, it will disappear." But instead, 2 weeks later, you couldn't find a roll of toilet paper, Lysol had become a figment of our imaginations, and people were fighting over fettuccine noodles in the grocery store aisles. Subsequently, by the end of March, my unit shut down in order to make room for the influx of COVID patients in the Cook County area. With little to no training, we were forced to float to various locations in the hospital. Every single night was a toss-up. In fact, my 23rd birthday, I spent on a COVID ICU, meticulously taking off PPE, caring for an unfamiliar population, watching people die without their family members beside them, and witnessing those in the African American, Hispanic, and American Indian communities be disproportionately targeted due to unwavering health disparities. So I would come home terrified of potentially passing the virus to my at-risk parents, and I was terrified to walk into work, never knowing what the night might bring. While the leader of our country continued to act like this was not a big deal. The only word I can even think to describe how I felt in those early months of the pandemic was hopeless. So while attempting to adjust to the new normal of hospital life, more tragedy strikes. Ahmaud Arbery was killed while jogging down the road in Glynn County, Georgia, because he looked suspicious. Breonna Taylor was killed while sleeping in her bed as her apartment was broken into without a warrant. Those officers have yet to be arrested for their crime. And on May 25th, a video was released in which a police officer in Minnesota had his knee pressed into the neck of George Floyd. I painfully watched as this man helplessly screamed, "I can't breathe," and called out for his late mother. I couldn't help but think about the painful way in which history continues to repeat itself. You know, we talk about how far we've come, but we watched as a man was lynched on national television. I couldn't help but think about how that could have been my brother, my father, my cousin, my uncle, Hell, it could have been me. And on social media, I watched as some justified the actions of the officers while others wept in horror at the blatant act of injustice and shared their own stories of how racism has affected their lives. There were times where I would find myself up in the middle of the night arguing with someone over social media as to why George Floyd did not deserve to die and why Black lives do indeed matter. Do you know how draining it is to defend your existence to someone? Wouldn't recommend it. And all of this to say, these events just push a community that was already drowning from the disparities of COVID-19 deeper into a sea of despair. I felt angry, frustrated, and scared, wondering how many more times must we witness the same events happen over and over again until people accept the fact that systemic racism is very much alive and well. In fact, within the time I initially wrote this speech to the time I spent editing it, James Blake was shot in the back 7 times in Kenosha, Wisconsin, while his 3 children were in the back of the car. This man is now paralyzed from the waist down. While listening to his sister speak at a press conference, she stated, "I'm not sad, I'm not sorry, I'm angry, and I'm tired. I haven't cried one time. I stopped crying years ago. I am numb." She is numb to the fact that we have to constantly watch our brothers and sisters be disproportionately killed by the police based solely on the color of our skin. And again, the only word I can begin to describe how I feel and felt during these events is hopeless. So these events made a year that we were all so excited about and turned it into an endless cycle of could it get any worse? But this is the reality we are living. These are the cards we have been drawn. So now we have to figure out how we put the hope back into 2020. How do we find a way to look back at all this mess that has taken place and find a sliver of good? So I personally believe it begins with us getting back to simply caring about one another. Our life experiences will forever be different, but the idea of just caring about people other than yourself is something we should all agree on. So what does it look like to actually care about other people and their experiences during these times? The first thing, wearing a mask. I will not elaborate on that. Second thing, making sacrifices. So what do I mean by that? We have all had to make sacrifices during this pandemic, whether that be a canceled family vacation, a canceled birthday party, many of you having to leave school early last semester. Think about the essential workers that never took a day off during the pandemic. Think about the people that haven't seen their family members for months at a time. Teachers and professors are working tirelessly to ensure you receive the best education, whether that be in person, online, wherever. Constantly having to change lesson plans in preparation for the unknown. So when you think about going to that frat party or Killarney's or Fat Jack's, where you know no one will be wearing a mask or social distancing, think about the ramifications of your actions. Think about your professors that don't get a chance to see their family members. Think about those working tirelessly in the hospitals. And all of those sacrifices we make this year will allow us to have a more fulfilling and enjoyable future. The third thing, educating yourself. Take time to learn about the experiences of people who are of a different race, gender, sexual orientation, or culture. As Dr. Hopkins always says, we need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Conversations about race and culture are incredibly delicate, but we have to learn about each other's experiences to learn how to better support each other, especially in times such as these. As nurses and future nurses, it is our most basic duty to care about other people. And what kind of nurses would we be if we cared for our patients, but as soon as we clocked out, we forget about all the compassion we have been conditioned to give. By not caring about the prevalence of systemic racism in this country and how it affects people of color, it goes against everything our profession stands for. To sit back and watch a community of people hurting and continue to be marginalized by society and to think, oh, this isn't my problem because I'm not Black, or attempting to discredit the experiences of those who do not look like you in order to mask your own implicit biases is just perpetuating the problem we are trying to solve. So rather than just assuming there is no way to help, read about ways that you can help. Ask about ways in which you can help. Learn how we can be allies for each other. And lastly, check in with each other. I know this is not the college experience you had all signed up for. I can imagine many of you are feeling stressed, overwhelmed, and saddened by the fact that we can't just go back to business as usual. Mentally, all of this can be incredibly draining. When we look back at this time, you all will be the ones that we reference when we say they managed to get through college through a pandemic, civil unrest, Kobe Bryant dying, killer hornets, a threat of World War III, and so many other things I can't even remember at the moment. It is okay to not be okay. Lean on each other. Know that you are tackling an enormous feat and you do not have to go at it alone. So I want to leave you all with a quote that I heard a couple weeks ago. Michelle Norris, who is an American journalist and was the first African-American host for National Public Radio, recently appeared on Michelle Obama's podcast. Throughout the podcast, they discussed the impact of the pandemic and the Black Lives Matter movement and where we sort of go from here. But Michelle Norris said something that really resonated with me, and I would like to share it with all of you. She said, "The great pause needs to become the great recalibration." By this, I believe she means two things. One, this pandemic revealed a lot about the disparities within the systems in this country. We have countless inequities within healthcare, the economy, and general access to resources. Take this time to learn what can be done for these issues and ensure you are registered to vote to elect individuals into offices that will work to combat these imbalances. And secondly, I believe she means to take this time to reevaluate yourself. Reevaluate how you think about the world. Reevaluate your priorities and the things in your life you would like to change. Come out of this movement or this pause as a better or more self-aware human being. With 4 months left in this year, we have the opportunity to put the hope back into 2020. I want to thank you all for allowing me to speak to you today. I think I speak for all of the Illinois Wesleyan School of Nursing alumni when I say, we got you, we are here for you, and please wash your hands. Good luck and have an amazing school year.
Thank you, Marissa, for your call to action and for helping us put the hope back into 2020. Today represents the 11th year of naming the Hartwig Nursing Student Leadership Award. Dr. Donna L. Hartwig served the School of Nursing for almost 2 decades as director and as an accomplished professor, was named the Carolyn F. Rupert Endowed Chair of Nursing. In 2009, we honored her distinguished service with an Endowed Nursing Student Leadership Award. Among Dr. Hartwig's legacies, her role in establishing the Hispanic Studies minor for nursing majors, and her leadership in expanding study abroad opportunities and helping to assure our graduates are prepared for global citizenships, are most pronounced. This year, we had 2 finalists, and I'll read their names in alphabetical order: Megan Lehman and Tanya Silva. Each is deserving of accolades. This year's recipient of the Donna L. Hartwig Nursing Student Leadership Award is Tanya Silva. As a Hispanic Studies minor, Tanya studied abroad in Barcelona. As a first-generation college student, she's helped other students transition to college as a resident assistant for the Office of Residential Life. She's immersed herself in leadership activities, including serving as the Student Affairs Committee representative and a student laboratory assistant in the NIL. Tanya is the secretary of the Spanish and Latino Student Nurses Association, as well as the community service chair for the newly founded Alpha Psi Lambda National Incorporated. It is with great pleasure that I present this award to Tanya. It will hang on the first floor of Stevenson Hall, and I invite her immediately following Convocation to join me in Shanks Lounge for the presentation of the Hartwig Award. Thank you for joining for what I hope is our only remote convocation. I hope our tradition of gathering for convocation in the chapel, followed by the School of Nursing dinner, resumes next year. This remote event is made possible because of the Convocation Committee, Mitzi Runyard-Tiemann, Stephanie Moore, Amanda Hopkins, and Wendy Kukin. And our special thanks go to Curtis Kelch and Trey Short for their IT expertise. Thank you.